It's happening, APLers. Week 2 preview is going down right about now. Well, an interesting tidbit in the matchups here from week 2 is everybody who won last week is playing somebody who lost last week, and same could go the other way. So unfortunately, I can't say that somebody's O has got to go because we could leave this week with 5 2-0 teams and 5 0-2 teams. Probably won't happen, but it could. So first matchup this week is Greg versus Sade. We've already had some stuff happen in this one to give us a little bit of lay of the land, but it still looks interesting. So Greg starts it out with a big 296 points out of Jalen Hurts. I'd say he's probably okay with that, but was hoping for more. Eagles are just running a ton more this year than they did last year in the first 2 games. So we'll see if that keeps up. Move to the running backs. Greg has Dameon Pierce and Miles Sanders in the starting lineup. Pierce is the Colts. Sanders is the Saints. Pierce didn't do great last week. We'll see that keeps up this week. Colts matchup is okay. Miles Sanders versus the Saints. Chuba got involved a little more than Greg probably would have liked, but still looks like a decent match against the Saints. So about 90 points for each of those guys. Wide receivers, interesting stuff here. So JJ did his thing on Thursday, got 160 points for Greg against the Eagles. Hopkins right now doesn't sound like he's going to play. So going to pencil in for a 0. Greg will probably find somebody else to roll in that spot, maybe like Hollywood. We'll see. Nico Collins is in at the 3 spot right now. So Greg has 2 Texans rolling against the Colts in his lineup, so making that game kind of big. Nico had a good first week. He seemed to be the number 1 wideout for Stroud, who may not play tomorrow. So that could be a concern. We'll see. Tight end, Goddard, 50 points. 50 more than last week, which is good. Still probably not quite as many as Greg's hoping for there on Thursday. Kickers and IDPs here. I just put in 75 kickers and 40s for all the IDPs because I didn't want to take the time to actually think about that, and I don't think it really matters. So grand total of Greg here, about 946 points. So not a huge high-scoring week. Hurts and Goddard probably would need to do more than 350 points total together. But there might be a bright spot here for Greg. Look at today's matchup. He's got Herbert at the Titans. Titans are really tough against the run, not so much against the pass. So could set up a big game for Herbert. Penciled in there at 375 points. Today's running backs, interesting. Alexander Madison, he is in the running for Rodder of the Week with a 32-point outing on Thursday night. Probably will be the lowest scoring running back of the week, which isn't great. Today, right into the starting lineup with Kyron Williams playing the 49ers. Tough matchup there. He's got 65 points penciled in there. It's probably the way to go. No Eckler here hurts a lot for today. The Mostert trade doesn't help either. The Dobbins injury makes it even worse. So things are interesting at running back. Wide receiver, we got Waddle against the Patriots. Tougher matchup against the Patriots, but it's the Dolphins. They do good things, hopefully. Mike Williams got that stack with Herbert there. 85 points. Kind of might seem a little bit low, but Mike Williams did come out of the game last week, so we'll see if he can stay healthy for a whole game. And Puka right into the starting lineup too. So we got both the big Rams acquisitions from last week into the lineup against the 49ers. See how they do. It's a tough matchup. Tight end, this is where City needs to make up some ground here. Waller at the Cardinals. He's got a hamstring issue. Surprise, it might be a nerve issue, but he says it doesn't matter. So we'll see. 110 points for Waller. Could do more. That matchup is probably pretty decent. Again, kickers and defense there all kind of equal out. So this is today with about a 75 point win here. So I'm going to go with today sneaking by Greg. Chargers are going to come through. Herbert and Mike Williams going to have some nice games, and then Waller makes a difference there at the tight end spot. So we got Greg got today moving to 2-0. Greg going to 0-2. Next matchup, Jake Tank It's a good one here. Jake, real tough matchup here at quarterback. Dak takes on the Jets. Well, saw Josh Allen just throw the ball around everywhere against the Jets last week, but Jets defense is tough. So low point score here from Dak at 275 points. Running backs are monsters. So McCaffrey going to do his thing against the Rams, 145. Chubb against the Steelers. Steelers, I don't think know how to stop the run. So those are the big games from the running backs there, and those could go higher. Wide receiver, a little bit more interesting. Higgins obviously had the 0 last week. He's got the Ravens. I think the Bengals bounced back a little bit there, but kind of penciled in for 80 points. And against the Texans, he looked good last week. The total was better last week, so we'll stick around 80. DJ Moore, the Bucks, just not sure if Chicago throws that much. It's going to be a slow pace game, so 60 points there for DJ Moore. Kittle, 100 points. So there's some upside there too. And then the kickers and defense is all there. So we got Jake at 1,071. And we got Tank here with rolling with Derek Carr at quarterback. Rodgers wrecks himself. Gino was horseshit. So Derek Carr jumps in, plays the Panthers on Monday night. At the Panthers, he was over 300 last week. We'll see. 290 for him there. Running backs also look good. Not quite as good as McCaffrey and Chubb, but Ramondre and Etienne. Ramondre against the Dolphins, that should be a high-scoring game, depending on if Belichick can shut down the Dolphins or not. But Ramondre at 100, Etienne against KC, should be a shootout there, 105 points. Wide receiver Devonta has a big game. 2 huge catches, 1 big touchdown catch against the Vikings there on Thursday. Gets Tank up for 155 points there. Diggs, it's a Raiders, should be solid, 110. Ayuk against the Rams, really good showing from Ayuk. You just never know what's going to happen in that 49er passing game. So the Kittle Ayuk breakdown could be interesting here in this matchup. Kelsey comes back, which is absolutely a monster for Tank here. 177 points, big number at tight end, like 50 points more than the next closest tight end. So it's a difference maker. Kickers and defense, got Tank coming out at 12-17. So I think Tank wins comfortably. Kelsey's big, makes a big difference, and the Jets shut down Dak. Another one, Tank moving to 2-0, Jake going to 0-2. Next matchup, Solomon versus Corey. This is going to be a theme in this matchup here. This Chiefs-Jags matchup is a big one for both guys. So Trevor Lawrence, at quarterback, he got 350 points. He's got a match against the Chiefs. I think there's some upside on that one. That's a potential shootout. A lot of points scored there. The running backs, almost as good as Jake's. They're really solid. Saquon, Bijan. The Giants' offense was a mess last week. You'd like to think they get on track there against the Cardinals. So 115 seems a little conservative on Saquon. Bijan for 105 against the Packers. Packers is a tough defense to face. We kind of saw what the Falcons had in store for Bijan last week, which wasn't a ton of running. It was more Algier than him, and might be more in the passing game. So obviously he's a big play threat. So there could be some upside there too. Wide receivers looked good, looking a little less good now. So Garrett Wilson now doesn't have Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball. So that point total comes down a little bit there to 75. Cowboys aren't the worst matchup, but just have to think the Jets are planning on throwing the ball all the time. Got the stack here with Ridley, and it's the Chiefs. 100 points there is pretty solid for Ridley, similar to what he did last week. And then Amari Cooper has the groin issue, so he comes out of the lineup. Solomon right now is Romeo Doubs in for the Falcons. Had a nice week last week. Just still think that game's going to be super slow paced. Neither team really wants to throw the ball too much, so I feel like the upside is capped there quite a bit. Tight end Hawkinson, huge game for Solomon on Thursday, 179 points. You got the kickers and the defense there, so 1174. Really nice week for Solomon, but might be surprising, maybe not. Corey's matchups look really good. So obviously he's got the other side of that Trevor Lawrence matchup there. So he's got Mahomes going. go 400 for Mahomes against the Jags. I feel like that's going to be a big game, like I said before. Running back, Josh Jacobs against the Bills. I feel like he's got to do more than he did last week. There should be some more points scored in that one. Bills defense maybe a little leakier than the Denver D last week. And then Najee, 80 points against the Browns. It feels a little high. We'll see. Wide receiver, Devontae. It's the Bills there too. So kind of hoping that core is definitely hoping that Bills Raiders game is a shootout and Garoppolo can get some stuff going to Devontae. Mike Evans looked surprisingly good last week. Baker actually got the ball downfield. It was against the Vikings, which might not be very meaningful, but 90 points there for Evans. And then Kendrick Bourne is in the starting lineup for Corey. Makes a free agent acquisition, throws him right into the lineup. Probably a good move. Okay, that should score a lot of points in that game. So Bourne got deep last week a couple times for touchdowns. So see if that can repeat. Another player in this Chiefs-Jags matchup here is Evan Ingram. So obviously, Corey's hoping that the majority of the Lawrence points go to Ingram, so he can double him up at that spot. So solid game from Ingram at 110. So kickers and defense comes out to 11:45 for Corey. So it's Solomon winning, but it's really close. And that Chiefs-Jags game might come down to game flow. Who gets the ball at the 2-minute warning in the first half? Who has the ball last in the second half? Who gets put in passing situations? Is somebody trying to run out the clock? Is it just back and forth? So I think that was going to have a big impact on the game. So another one, we're looking at Solomon going to 2-0. All right, next matchup, Daggy versus Ryan. Daggy does not trust Daniel Jones this week, so he's rolling with Mac Jones. He's playing the Dolphins. Talked about that a little bit before. Might be high scoring, worth a shot. Why not roll with Mac Jones there? The offense threw the ball a lot last week. Running backs are okay. Mixon against the Ravens, James Conner against the Giants. So just feel like they're guys that are going to get the ball a lot. Don't feel like there's a ton of upside there. They're not big home run hitters. So 95, 90 points there. Jamar Chase is the wild card here. Obviously, he can go nuts. He has gone nuts against the Ravens. He averages over 100 yards receiving a game. He's got tons of touchdowns, so that's a good spot for him. And he's obviously the offset for Ryan's quarterback there with Burrow. So Godwin against the Bears seems like a solid 75 points there. It was about normal. Addison had the big touchdown on Thursday night to get 95 points at the wide receiver 3 spot for Daggy, which is a nice one. Pitts against the Packers. Another one that I think is kind of this week. This matchup may hinge on if Pitts can do some stuff. And by Pitts doing stuff, it means do the Falcons actually throw the ball and can Ritter hit a wide open Pitts, which we probably have all seen the replays where Pitts is wide open, waving his arms in the air, and just not seen. So there's definitely some upside there. We'll see what happens. Kickers, IDPs, 1,030 for Daggy. Ryan rolls with Burrow this week. Obviously, that's been discussed in the text thread a little bit. Cousins would look really nice here right now at quarterback, but Burrow against the Ravens will go for 335. Depending on how that game goes, I feel like that could be more, but that more might go to Chase, but who knows? Running backs here, Henry, he is set up probably maybe as the best running back of the week. Chargers gave up a ton of no, that's the other way around. Never mind. I think it's a good spot. Playing the Chargers. Their game plan is going to be to run the ball. So see if they can stop it. Mostert, after the brief health scare, he's going to play. 75 points should be about right. Wide receiver here, Olave did his thing last week. Panthers aren't really too scared of a matchup, especially with Horn on the IR. Debo against the Rams, kind of never know what he's going to do. So 75 sounds okay. Might be some upside. And then Brandon has Traylon Burks in the lineup here too. So he's got 2 guys going against the Chargers. Probably hoping for some points scored here where Burks jumps in. Ryan's got a plethora of okay options at tight end. Going with Laporta here. He had the biggest score last week. Lions, Seahawks. Seems like it might be a game where there's some more points scored, but kind of seemed like that with the lines last week. But anyway, I think taking the safe play here with Laporta to get some points. So kickers and defense added in. It's 1,040 points for Ryan. So this is it's really, really, really close. So I think Henry's the difference maker here. He could go nuts and put Ryan over the top. But those quarterbacks might be the difference as well. But I'll lean Henry. Last matchup of the week, me versus the Boot Barn. Josh Allen, he was pretty awful last week. He's responded well in the past on games where he played poorly. So hoping for a nice matchup or a nice point total here against the Raiders. 375 is penciled in for. It's kind of a lot. Running back, this is a tough one. So you got Gibbs against the Seahawks and Walker against the Lions. I got 85 for Gibbs, 100 for Walker. Kind of in the same game. Depends on how that game flow goes, but seems about right. Tyreek, 130 against the Patriots. Might seem like a little much. Belichick knows how to scheme things. He's going to try to slow the Dolphins down. It's just a matter of if he can do it or not. Sounds like the Patriots' top corner might not be playing too, which can make things tough. CeeDee Lamb is going to match up with Sauce Gardner. Like upside for sure. 90 points might be more than he can get to with Sauce, and we'll see if they move Lamb around in the formations to try to get him matched up against somebody else. And then Amon-Ra against the Seahawks. The Seahawks got crushed last week by Puka from the slot, so kind of thinking the same thing there from Amon-Ra this week. Tight end right now is Freiermuth is going to go against the Browns. Wasn't great last week. Still not sure if that's what I want to do, but take the safe route. 75 points seems okay, even though 23 was. Kickers defense come out to 1150 there, obviously driven by the Tyreek and Josh Allen numbers. Ross. This is the big game for Ross here. He's got Lamar against the Bengals, 320 is the total here. We all know Lamar either gets 200 or 500, so we'll see which guy he is this week. Pollard, he looks like the man there. He's got tough matchup against the Jets. So 110 points, probably not his upside most weeks, but Jets are tough. David Montgomery against the Seahawks, he got 90 points for him. So that Gibbs-Montgomery split will be something to watch here in this matchup against me and Ross. AJ Brown sucked ass on Thursday night, 33 points, threw a tantrum on the sideline. So I think it's good when you're winning and you're still throwing a fit on the sideline. So DK against the Lions. So this Lions Seahawks game is kind of a big deal. We got 3 running backs between us and then 2 wide receivers too. So I'm still not convinced the Lions are really that good, but DK could go nuts. And then Ross throwing Jerry Jeudy in the starting lineup right off of the IR, right off of the hamstring injury against the Commanders. Almost 60 points there, which is a little low, but just not convinced he's going to run all the routes and play all that much. Tight end, Mark Andrews for 120. So that could be like double that easily. So that Lamar Andrews stack is definitely what I'm worried about. And that's the thing to watch in this matchup. So it comes out to 1,028 points for Ross. So me winning, but I think it's going to be a sweat. I think Lamar and Andrews are going to get hot. Summarize it all. Got Sade over Greg by 81 points. Got Tank over Jake by 146. Solomon sneaking by Corey by 29. Ryan over Daggy by 10. And me over Ross by 122. So if that does happen, that is all the winners would be 2-0, and everybody who loses would be 0-2. And to close it out, the lock of the week here is Tank over Jake. So write it in pen. That's what's happening. One final thing. Greg texted me after the game on Thursday night and said W. So Greg is also guaranteeing a win over Sade after his performance on Thursday. So see how it goes. Talk to you guys later.